go.
Well, thank you so much for joining again. I wanted to chat with you today about a topic that is germane to all of us that have an interest in China. And that is, when can we get back to China? I assume that most of you that join me here for these conversations are interested in visiting China again, or for many of you, you're working there. And my last trip was a year ago in November. When I left, it never entered my mind that it would be over a year before I'd be able to go back. As you know, if you go to China, and the planes do fly, you're subject to a 14-day quarantine. Now that quarantine is in a hotel or facility chosen by the government. You will pay for it. And most times it means 3 Chinese meals a day brought to your door. You go out and pick it up, you stay in your room. Now, if you're able to enjoy Chinese television, great. You'll probably have something to do. But while in your room, of course, you would have access to Wi-Fi. But for most of us, 14 days quarantine is just not a possibility. So in essence, travel is restricted, if not forbidden. Now, the question is, when is this going to change? I want to be the first to acknowledge that it never entered my mind it would be this long. I was traveling during SARS, and everybody was fearful, but it turned out that it was localized, it was relatively short-lived, and a cure was found very quickly. So when COVID-19 was identified, I thought, I've been there, done that. I'll be in China. There'll be less people on the airplane. Hotels will be empty. They'll come by and clean up after me as soon as I leave an elevator. And so what's the problem? That was my assumption, and I was wrong. Very wrong. This is different. Now, if you're waiting to make plans to get back to China, as I am, you're asking the question, how long will this drag on? The answer is that probably for the remainder of 2021, and I say that with great regret. Now, July 1st is the 100th anniversary of the founding of the Communist Party. And so nobody is going to go back in before that. August 1st is the 70th anniversary of the founding of the Red Army. And so great celebration, big event, and it's doubtful that China will open the doors for foreigners before those 2 big anniversaries. Could restrictions end, i.e. the 14-day quarantine after that? Possibly. But very recently, I've concluded that probably not. Looking ahead to 2022, there's at least 2 known events. One is the 10-year election cycle. The tenure of President Xi may be ending next year. We don't know. But whatever the case, there will be an election in China. And the Chinese government is not particularly eager to have a mass amount of foreigners walking around during those particular very significant happenings. So it could be that until the elections are resolved, that they will not resume normal travel. And the second known event for 2022 is the Winter Olympics. that China will be hosting for the world. Those of us that traveled in 2008 remember that the country did a masterful job of cleaning everything up, including the air quality. So there will be customary limitations on foreign involvement probably until that ends. Now, those are the known events. Let's talk about the ones we do not predict. As I speak to you now, they've identified the first person to carry the bird flu in Jiangsu province. It was first identified in the UK, and that's in China. Well, China tends to be a country of extremes. It can be denial, or it can be embracing to the full and dealing with things. And so given that habitual behavior, if there's even a hint of another virus, I suspect that the extreme restrictions on foreign travel will continue. Now let's hope that's not the case. And may I just add in defense to my friends in China, the world criticized them when it was presumed that China didn't acknowledge the virus in Wuhan. Why can we criticize them now for being doubly careful? And so I think we need to be aware. We can talk about these things, but we can also be supportive of the country and the very positive things that they are doing. And so what's my prediction? When can you begin to travel again? I don't know. For us, we're prepared to go and to see our friends again the moment the planes fly and the 14-day quarantine is removed. But if perchance we're not able to go, then we want to continue to keep our relationships active and vital. For Word for Asia, we've been able to function almost per normal. And I'm going to add one more ingredient into this conversation. It's sinicization. The largest prevailing theme, top down, during the last 12 months has been sinicization. This is in the religious sphere, business, culture. The China dream means that the Chinese culture becomes preeminent and prominent. Now, that means, bluntly, while Chinese hospitality will still be in vogue, that they don't want a Western face on a Chinese culture. How that will play into visas, the welcome that you're extended, is yet to be seen. But we do need to be aware of that. And I would add that as one more factor which could determine when visitors are welcome. Now, what happens when you get back to China? There will be a reset, no question about it. It could be under the heading of a medical concern, but China will reset. Could they require all of us to secure a new visa? Could be. Will they require us to have proof of vaccination? Absolutely. Could they require that vaccination be done by them? I haven't heard that. I haven't been told that. But it's somewhat logical. So you may have to make a decision. Do you want to receive a vaccination from the Chinese government? You may want to develop a corporate policy in advance. And finally, if and when we go back in to this beautiful country, we will be required to have an app on our phones. The Chinese citizens already have them, and it's very common. A red light, a yellow light, a green light. Based upon where you've been, but also who you have been around. So be aware, be prepared, and when the time comes, I hope you enjoy your new app. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, contact us.